Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Music Mondays podcast. This is episode 134, and I'm your host, Zom Slays. Welcome on in. Happy Monday. Hope you're chilling. Today is August 14th, 2023. How we doing, man? I hope we're at least doing decent on this fine Monday. You guys know the drill. Try to get in some weekly recap stuff. Tell you what's coming on Music Mondays. Whole lot of really actually good stuff. I have actually a really good topic for us to discuss tonight before we get into some reactions and reviews. So let's get it. And like I said, I'm your host, Dom Slays. So strap in, sit down, and get comfortable. So weekly recap stuff. Let's start there. So Music Mondays had a really solid week, if I'm being honest with you. Everything's going really stellar with the platform. Community's good, staff's good. Everybody's back on their bullshit, so to speak. So, weekly recap. So everything you missed at Music Mondays over the last week or so. Episode 133 of the Music Mondays podcast is available on all platforms right now. It is available on our YouTube channel as well as Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and wherever you listen to podcasts. Huge shout out to everybody that's been running us up on audio platforms. And if there's a specific audio platform that you'd like us to start putting the show on, feel free to let us know. I'm always open to adding more platforms. We just kind of stuck with the main ones, realistically. And then, anybody who wants to request some other platforms that they use personally, feel free to let us know. But like I said, it's available on our YouTube channel as well, and huge shout out to our YouTube crowd. Why you should use Discord. YouTube upload is available right now on our YouTube channel as well. That was uploaded last Thursday of this past week. That's a really good one. If you missed that segment last week for episode 133, I sat down and, really broke down Discord in a different way. Not necessarily like a how to use guide, but more so on why Discord is beneficial, the tools of Discord. A whole lot of like really useful information is in there. So if you missed that YouTube upload, definitely go check that out. Huge shout out to everybody that's been running up our YouTube channel as well. And by the way, hopefully after tonight's episode, we can hit 200 subscribers because we are literally 2 subscribers away. We are at 198 on the Music Mondays channel. So again, huge shout out to all of you guys who are currently subscribed to the channel. And if you're not already, we upload 2 times a week, man. Every Thursday and Saturday. Full podcast episodes, underground tips and tricks, exclusive segments, whole lot of good stuff's available over there. So if you're not subbed to the channel, please consider doing so. That takes us to Thursday again as well. We premiered a brand new playlist with our Music Mondays staff designer, Aster. Now, many of you know Aster for their wonderful designs on Music Mondays. In case you missed it, monthly freestyle stuff, early SoundCloud Sunday covers. But Aster approached me and wanted to do a exclusive playlist for artists that are outside of the United States, Europe, surrounding countries, places like that. And I thought it was a great concept because a lot of American and United States blogs don't really, and platforms for that matter, don't really shed light on foreign creators. So I thought that was a really good thing to do, and I jumped on the opportunity. So Aster put together the premiere version of Across the Pond, and that'll be dropping every month, exclusively curated by Aster. So if you're interested in Across the Pond for August of 2023, definitely go check out our SoundCloud. You know what I mean? There's not only that on there, but there's a whole lot of wonderful content on our SoundCloud. So definitely go check that out. And huge shout out to Aster for coming up with that idea, because I really thought that was an idea that, not only I really wanted to jump on, but Aster approached me in a couple of different forms, whether it was like writing or things like that. But I thought the playlist was definitely like the surefire way to go to like show off artists outside of the United States. You know what I mean? Like that's definitely something I really wanted to do. So again, huge shout out to Aster for the idea. In case you missed it, monthly, May 2023 is finally live on our website and all of our social medias. That article was actually written by Raylo and Raven of the Music Monday staff team, so huge shout out to those two. And we finally have Aster back on graphics. So, in case you missed it, monthly is essentially one of our biggest writing pieces to date. Very important. Essentially, sums up on a month-to-month basis all of the releases that the staff kind of finds either went under the radar, a release that they really enjoy. That's really their preference. So, if you're ever interested in getting on, in case you missed it, monthly, getting featured, definitely contact any of our writers and pitch yourself to them. Introduce yourself. They're very friendly, and they'll be happy to consider your release for bigger articles like that. Um, so yeah, the May edition is available right now, and again, that was written by Raylo and Raven of the Music Mondays staff writing team. And like I said, Aster's back on graphics, man, and I did graphics for like the last couple of them, but like I never claimed the title of graphic designer. I never fucking I just like I have very basic knowledge of graphic design, so like I can get a lot of basic shit done. But there's a reason why I never claimed that title. I just don't consider myself a graphic designer. So that's why when I do graphics, it's not that big of a deal to me. Um, but when it comes to Aster, it's really cool to have them back on. So again, huge shout out to Ray, Raven, and Aster for In Case You Missed It Monthly, May 2023. And many of you are probably wondering, holy shit, we're in fucking August. Well, Aster actually got sick and stranded. So it was a pretty troubling time for the Music Money staff team. But Aster's all good back in their home country. They're chilling. So Aster kind of had to take a quick hiatus for a couple of really really unfortunate life circumstances. So again, huge shout out to Aster. And you can expect the June and July editions to be cranked out this month and into September, to be honest with you. So we really want to catch back up to August, but those are like very fine-tuned pieces. So if we rush them, they just look like shit, to be honest with you. Even my graphics, they're like okay, but they're not even close to what Aster can do, because that's what Aster does, is their main um their main creative skill set. So I like to keep Aster in that role as much as I can, because if it was up to me, um I wouldn't do it. I only do it because we have to get the content out, you know what I mean? So but when Aster is available for it, it always comes out like 10 times better than I ever could. um I mean, yeah, sure, I could grind away hours at learning fucking graphic design, but that's not something that's exactly practical. So again, huge shout out to Aster, and definitely go check out In Case You Missed It monthly. So, nearing the end of the week, and we posted a brand new article live on the Music Mondays website. This is actually relatively simple, more of a quick recap for summer 2023 and what you can expect for the rest of the summer heading into fall. So if you missed the summer 2023 recap and preview, definitely go check that out on the website right now. And again, that was written by me. Just of the majority of the things that I thought were very important over the course of the summer, and really like just to give a preview of August and early September. So again, if you're interested in a nice little recap and preview, definitely go check that out on the homepage with the rest of our wonderful articles. Now that takes us to Sunday, yesterday, because today is August 14th. SoundCloud Sunday Volume 95 is available right now. Again, if you missed that edition of SoundCloud Sunday, definitely go check that out in the rest of the volumes. That was curated by myself, Depressed, Avanco, and Waterfalls. We got all of the staff curators on this SoundCloud Sunday, so this is a really special one. So again, huge shout out to the Music Money staff curators. You guys are fucking amazing. But yeah, the appreciation for SoundCloud Sunday and how it spread so fast is something I'll always appreciate. So huge shout out to all you guys that are constantly submitting to that playlist and constantly showing support. You guys are amazing. And again, if you missed volume 95, definitely go check that out, and the rest of the volumes that we have available on our SoundCloud. So that pretty much takes us to Monday, August 14th. We're here live with the Music Mondays podcast, episode 134. We're going to talk a little bit about what's upcoming for Music Mondays. We're going to talk about a lot of interesting topics, to be honest with you. Then we're going to get into some reactions and reviews. So, what's good, chat? How are you guys? Denny's versus Chili's. The cicada's still in my room. I have no idea. He's my friend now. Aster is goaded. Yeah, Aster is indeed goaded. But, Filter, what's good? I hope you're well. Welcome on in. Happy motherfucking Monday. Uh, so yeah, it's time to get bracket. So, I have a light discussion segment that I think will be really good for the show. But before we get into that, we're gonna talk about what's upcoming for Music Mondays in August. And of course, over the course of the next week or so. But um, let's get into it. So essentially, when it comes to upcoming content, like I said with In Case You Missed It Monthly, that's something we're really trying to not rush, like I said, but really trying to crank out and catch up on. So again, expect the June and July editions of that written article and graphic piece available on our website throughout the month. Definitely keep your eyes peeled. And of course, if you're ever interested in getting involved In Case You Missed It Monthly, you want to submit some stuff to our writers, feel free to contact any of our writers. You can find the list of the Music Money staff members on our website as well. So definitely contact them if you're interested. But of course, definitely be on the lookout for brand new In Case You Missed It monthlies. So, we're in the process of, like I said last week, really getting a lot of YouTube content sorted. Your usual monthly pieces, Feature Friday, Workshop Wednesday, the breakdown, and a couple of other side videos I really have planned for the staff and a lot of artists. So realistically, when it comes to segments like those, it comes to like a scheduling thing. So, you know, very important that everything kind of lines up, but expect new editions of those as well on our YouTube channel. Uh, Feature Friday and Workshop Wednesday are pretty staple in Music Mondays, but the breakdown, behind the merch, a lot of those, I'm really looking to reignite the flame. You know what I mean? So again, keep your eyes peeled for updates on those. I spoke a little bit about Cyberfest 2 on the summer 2023 preview and recap on the website right now. So essentially, we're just working out a decent lineup for Cyberfest 2, working on some dates. Obviously, we need to get a couple things done before we really announce this publicly. So really, the only people that are like super aware of Cyberfest 2 is pretty much anybody who watches the podcast, the staff, and somewhat of the community, because we've talked about it a few times, but it's definitely not something that we've officially announced yet. So again, definitely keep your eyes peeled for that, but that's a very important project for us. And we're definitely going to try to get to tying up all those loose ends before fall rolls around. So just sit tight. You guys will have a lot of your Cyberfest 2 information very, very soon. So that's like a lot of the like very important things. We have a couple of side projects that we want to close out the year with, but that's not till like November, December area. So again, we have a couple of things to really bang out. But again, outside of our monthly media content, we have two very important articles dropping this week. Arctic and Jaded's first article actually will be going up on the Music Mondays website this week, and of course, all of our Patrons will be getting a preview of them first. So, all the Music Mondays Patrons, definitely keep your eyes peeled for a brand new post on the Music Mondays Patreon. Some very exclusive content going up on there shortly. So yeah, essentially expect an Arctic article and a Jaded article as well. So keep your eyes peeled for those. SoundCloud Sunday, the Music Mondays podcast, all audio platforms, and your usual YouTube content will stay the same, per usual. You can always expect your weekly and monthly drops here on Music Mondays. It's a new month, per usual, so outside of the media content, we have our playlist content, such as the monthly with Depressed, Across the Pond, Underground Classics, and I think those are our three main. But yeah, expect a refresh of all those as well. So again, keep your eyes peeled. Make sure you follow us on socials. And again, if you're interested in pitching yourself for any of these more exclusive playlists that we don't curate to the public, definitely let our writers and curators know that you're interested. definitely shoot him a follow, show him some love. But with that said, outside of like, you know, monthly and weekly stuff, um, you know, the usuals are still on the table as well. Um, you should see a Music Mondays recruiting flyer go out this week. Um, you know, we're always open for recruitment, but we always like to refresh the roles and really go back and like super explain it. But again, just as a friendly reminder, Music Mondays is recruiting right now. So definitely let us know if you're interested in any of the following roles for writing, journalism, curation, graphic design, content creation, short form media, long form media, YouTube content. Just if you're a very passionate underground creative, um, we're not necessarily looking for people with massive resumes, but if you do have a resume, that's even better. But if you don't, that's fine. We're more than willing to bring some new people on board. And of course, you guys know that Music Mondays is very early in monetization. So again, a lot of the revenue that we do make goes right back into the platform. SoundCloud Premium, website updates, a whole lot of like smaller things like that. So the platform essentially pays for itself. But as we grow, things will slowly change and parts will move. But again, if that's a role or roles that you're interested in filling, definitely let us know. Send us a message or your resume or portfolio. Exclusives, SoundCloud exclusives. We are on the hunt for SoundCloud exclusives for our library on SoundCloud, for our archive on SoundCloud, and really just to promote some creatives in a different way on all of our socials. Of course, this will always be free. Pretty much all we want is the SoundCloud version. Feel free to distro your track wherever you want to all stores, but it'll just be exclusively hosted on the Music Monday SoundCloud. So definitely let us know if that's something you're interested in. Of course, free promo across all of our socials at no cost. But not only on SoundCloud, we're definitely interested in hosting some YouTube visuals as well. We're approaching 200 subscribers on our channel. So again, for free, if that's something you're interested in, full promotion across our socials. Definitely let us know if you want a visual or a music video or a lyric video or anything like that hosted on the Music Mondays channel. We're more than happy to have that conversation. So, yeah, that's about it. Weekly stuff, monthly stuff, what's upcoming, exclusives, recruitment. Yeah, we got through the usual for sure. So yeah, before we get into some reactions and reviews, I have a very interesting topic. Something again kind of more lighthearted. It's not super serious. But it is something I thought of this week, and I was like, that's not that bad to talk about on the show. So this will be kind of interesting. Now, what are we going to talk about this week, and what is our discussion? Before we get into that, actually, Ghost, what's good? Happy motherfucking Monday. Hope you're well. Welcome on in. And what's good, chat? I hope you're well. So, yeah, our discussion segment this week. Let's get into it. So this is kind of an interesting topic and something I kind of have a decent amount of experience with, especially with the current roster of artists that I have and the rest of the Music Monday staff. So, the question: should you play shows early on in your career? And by live shows, I mean live shows, not URL or shows or anything like that. I'm talking in-person IRL shows. So this will be kind of an interesting topic because again, it's going to be different for everybody. And as the majority of you know, well, as you should know, online and IRL networking matters equally. Both of them are very important, but some people will flourish in one or the other. Well, when we want to talk about live shows, right? This is a very simple topic, but it's very important. So when it comes to performing live, if you've never performed live, I definitely think it's worth it as soon as possible to be able to get your feet wet. I think getting your feet wet is very important when it comes to performing live shows early on in your career. Whether you have 100 monthly, 1,000 followers, small, very early on. like I said, I think getting your feet wet and getting those reps in is worth it. Um, a lot of people run into the problem of kind of like paying for slots. And like, if you're not paying for a slot on the show that you can reimburse with tickets, then yeah, that's probably not the play. You know what I mean? Paying for certain slots is never usually worth it unless you're getting tickets back to actually sell. Um, so there's a couple ways to go around that. But should you do it? You know what I mean? There's plenty of show opportunities that come up, smaller shows, smaller venues. Um, really important things that like, you know, just happen, smaller events, pop-ups, and it piques a lot of artists' interest and they're like, damn, like should I do that? Well, there's a couple things to consider, right? Like if you've already had show experience, um, you know, that's kind of one thing to really think about. But if you haven't and you've only played like one or two shows, I think getting those repetitions and getting again your feet wet and getting the experience in front of a crowd and kind of how you like to perform, just shit, even like holding the mic in your hand, you know what I mean, and going to these smaller venues and events, I think is worth it. Um, you know, they're not only good experiences, but it's practice and you're networking with mutual artists, right? You're networking with future supporters. You're networking with supporters of other artists. So it's usually like a very like beneficial thing. But when it comes to doing that repeatedly, that's kind of where it falls off. Because, say you've played over like 10 shows, smaller crowds, 30, 50, maybe even sometimes 100 people. There's only so much you're going to get from that so many times, right? Especially with the cost of, doing better and better shows, renting out better and better venues, sound equipment, artist fees as well. A lot of that stuff isn't free. So early on, that's where you're going to reap a lot of those benefits, right? If you just want to get your reps in, I think that's totally perfect. But if you already have your reps and you've played a bunch of small shows, sometimes it's not worth it. Like, even if you have that big of a following, right? It doesn't always necessarily correlate to selling out a show. Like, for instance, you could take an artist with six figures on Spotify, right? 100K monthly, 300K, whatever. And they go to book a tour, a world tour, a United States tour, a Europe, Canada tour, whatever. And, only certain dates sell out. And it'll be dates like Florida or New York or Cali or Vegas or a lot of these kind of uh like obviously like bigger cities, but they're all, you know, filled with like very big art communities. But if you start booking places like, Indiana or New Mexico or a lot of the like rougher states, it starts to become very costly and very much like not worth it. Um in terms of your return on investment, in terms of your benefit. And this is where the line kind of gets blurred, right? Because you could bring up a lot of cases where some people have really benefited from that. And this is why it's different for everybody. So if you garnered your fan base through your bedroom and you haven't played shows in X, Y, or Z, I think it'd be worth it for you to network. I think it'd be worth it for you to go play a show. You know what I mean? But if you've garnered your fan base through playing local shows and you can sell out your town hall of 50 people, there's no sense in playing that over and over and over again, unless you're upgrading venues. And then when you're talking about upgrading venues, you're talking about paying out more people. You're talking about headliners. You're talking about security. You're talking about sound equipment. So early on, when you spend that kind of money and you need this kind of budget, it's very hard to find it worth it to at least get your money back. And that's why early on it's worth it, because even if you lose money, it's still you getting your experience. Like you're getting the media, right? You're shooting photos, you're getting videos, you're networking, you're performing, you're actually getting practice, and you're meeting new artists. But that well runs dry. You know what I mean? And that becomes like a thing where it's like, okay, like I'm not really gaining anything anymore. You know what I mean? It's the same people, it's the same lineups. We're not upgrading venues. Shows are always, free or $10 or whatever. Um, So again, sometimes after a while, you won't really be able to gain anything from it. And that's where you got to go back to the drawing board, and not necessarily the drawing board, just really go back to the lab. And you need to start building your online base once again. And when bigger shows come up, I would definitely still jump on it. I wouldn't completely like axe the idea of a show. I would just pick them wisely. You know what I mean? Take as many as you want early on, but once you get that experience, I would pick them wisely. You know what I mean? Ones that are going to be beneficial, ones that you could, really get in front of like a new crowd or really play with some artists that you've never played with before. There's a lot of like reasons why you'd still want to do it. But again, it's just not as fancy or as like beneficial later on. And again, like I said, that's why you go back to the lab and you're like, okay, like how the fuck can I garner more support? And that's pretty much where you got to go with it. And then eventually you'll be able to um have such a decent audience online that you'll be able to really tell where a decent show will be. You know what I mean? Take somebody like BLP Kosher for instance. He played his first show not too long ago, and it's completely sold out. Yada yada yada, the whole nine. And that's what I'm talking about. As to where you did like he's even an extreme example because he went super viral, but he was still very underground before that. So when it comes to things like that, that's how you know. You're like, wait a minute, now I could definitely sell a show wherever. Because like, he certainly didn't sell a show in Florida. You know what I mean? It's LA, it's all these other kind of like West Coast areas. So lots of things to consider when it comes to actually doing shows because I think they're great. But is there better things in certain points of your career that you could be um doing? Yeah, absolutely. Things like merchandise, things like paid features, things like a better team, um, engineers, producers, managers, graphic designers. You know what I mean? There's a lot of ways that those funds could go, and I don't think paying for a slot or paying for travel in every single case is going to be worth it. Which is like obvious, but there's very specific reasons why. Um, you know, so again, a couple things to really consider, but for the most part, it's very case by case basis. Because if you're at a certain point where you have all your reps, there's just going to be specific shows that you don't do, and there's going to be specific shows that you just kind of hop on because it's worth it, and it's for other reasons, right? Whether it be a new audience, whether it be something like a new lineup, you're actually getting paid $50 or something. Like a lot of those are worth it, even if your travel is getting paid for, I think doing shows like that are like worth it, very much worth it. But if you got to spend $500 every time you step out for a show, and you're not even making $100, sometimes it's not worth it. You know what I mean? Like sometimes that media and the recaps and whatnot are definitely good return on your investment of a show. But sometimes, man, you'll just be like, why the fuck did I just play that? You know what I mean? When you could have spent 500 on merch, you could have spent 500 on promo or a feature or organic anything. You know what I mean? So um basically, to cap that all off, all the new artists out there, really just kind of consider your options and consider the things that I mentioned here, depending on your case. You know what I mean? Because again, it is different for everybody. I don't think that really applies to like one size fits all, because everybody's in different positions and everybody really like comes from different backgrounds, right? Like some people, like I said, have that IRL pull. Some people have that online pull. But for shows, you need both because you want to pull out the online crowd, right? Because you want to get the gremlins in the basement. You want to get your crazy cult-like supporters to actually spend some cash to come out, and then you want the IRL people, your friends, your locals, the people that you already know are going to support shit, even your coworkers. That's why that IRL and online pull is very important when it comes to performing. So, yeah, for any really new artists out there that are really considering an opportunity or looking to do shows, those are some good tips on it. If somebody were to ask me, I could definitely expand on a lot more shit, but when it comes to really like making it simple and sweet, a couple of ways to go about it, and my best advice would just be consider your options. Um, and usually, if it's too good to be true, sometimes it usually will be too good to be true. Um, so yeah, that's that, my friends. Again, if you're watching this on YouTube and you want us to really expand upon things like this more, definitely let us know. And again, if you're watching on YouTube, drop a like, drop a comment. You guys know the drill. So yeah, chat. Um, that's the deal there, man. Um, Very interesting topic, but again, very different for everybody. You know what I mean? So, that's that on that. But you guys know what motherfucking time it is. Let's get into some reactions and reviews, man. Because we got a stack of tracks this week, my friends. A good stack. A good stack. So, before we get into it, having my first show in an actual venue this Wednesday. Sorry to interrupt. No. You didn't interrupt. No, you're good. You're good. I'm just excited. No, that's like, see, like, that's the perfect example. Like, your first show is always going to be special, and it's always going to be something to, like, improve on. It's going to be something to remember. It's just a step in the right direction for any artist early on in their career. First show's always one of the coolest, and good luck. Good luck. You'll definitely crush it. You'll definitely crush it. Just gotta be confident. You know what I mean? But it's also like a good like learning experience. You know what I mean? So that's why I like the first like 5 or 6 of those. Maybe even 10 of them until you're comfortable. Like whenever you're comfortable with it, I think that's when it's best. Um, because realistically, like it might take somebody like 5 reps to get bored, and then somebody else might, take longer to get comfortable with the mic in their hand, take longer to perform in front of a crowd and get comfortable. So again, everybody's different. That's why that's not really like a one size fits all kind of deal, but that's definitely my advice for anybody like, oh shit, like should I do this show? You know what I mean? Because like those opportunities like arise like all the time, so it's not uncommon for like newer artists, smaller artists to really like get show opportunities, and a lot of them like don't know whether it's going to be beneficial or not. But let's get into it. You're looking at the current format to submit to the Music Mondays podcast. How do you submit, Zom? Music Mondays, why do you take submissions on Twitter? What's going on? What's the deal? Break it down. So, the submission tweet will always read, artists and creatives, submissions are open for live reviews on Music Mondays, live on 8/14/23 at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, twitch.tv/plays. If you'd like to submit your music, artwork, fashion, or digital creations, drop your links and portfolios below. All art forms welcome. Uh, you guys know the deal. But if you don't, you're new here. Contrary to our name, Music Mondays, we've reacted to and reviewed a wide range of content. Because most creators are multi-talented. A lot of video editors also make beats. A lot of producers also do vocals. A lot of graphic designers also edit videos. You know what I mean? So, we like to put on for every section of the community. You know, because again, it's just not right. And I really wanted to dive into that section of everybody. You know what I mean? Because there's so many parts of the underground that are so important. So again, like I said, contrary to our name, feel free to submit anything from music, artwork, merchandise, um, fashion, photos, edits, you name it. If you're an underground creative and you think you deserve some spotlight on Music Mondays, we'll be happy to react. Absolutely. So outside of that, 4-hour show limit, you must be following Music Mondays on Twitter to be eligible. 4-hour show limit, of course, again, was put in place to not only release some pressure on the Music Mondays team, but to make the show more palatable, right? Even a 4-hour show is relatively hard to get through, but it's not as bad as like a 6 or 7 or 8-hour show, right? I think our longest was almost like 7 hours or so, which is just insane. So for a weekly show, I thought it was pretty decent to cap it off at 4 hours. That'll give us enough time to really get through a majority of our reactions and reviews and get through some of our side content as well, some of our discussions and whatnot. So, yes, 4-hour show limits. You must be following Music Mondays on Twitter to be eligible. Well, that's the only thing that we do ask, because of course submissions are free for the show, and they always will be free. But the only thing that we do ask is that you're following Music Mondays on Twitter before you submit, to not only help grow our audience and spread our message, but to give respect to everybody else that is also submitting every week and waiting for their tracks to be reacted to. And plus, it's a great network of creatives, artists, just individuals that are very, very passionate about what they do. So that's the only thing that we do ask. Just drop us a follow before you submit. And of course, back to the 4 hour show limit, you would assume sometimes not every submission gets played. Well, if you want your submission to be guaranteed to be played, feel free to check out the Music Mondays Patreon. We've included a reward on there for every single tier, even our lowest tiers, called the Music Mondays Fast Pass. And essentially, if you're subscribed to any tier on the Music Mondays Patreon, you'll be included in the Music Mondays Fast Pass. What is the Fast Pass? Well, that essentially guarantees that your submissions are played first each week here on the show, for the duration that you're a member of the Music Mondays Patreon. So, again, that's not only one of the many things that we have there on Patreon, but we also drop all of our content early on Patreon before it goes public. So if that's something that interests you, definitely go check out our Patreon. And huge shout out to the squad that we have over there on Patreon. I think we're about like 5 deep right now, so you guys are amazing. Thank you. But yeah, that's about the nitty gritty details of the Music Mondays podcast. We're gonna be taking submissions on Twitter for the foreseeable future until something like Threads or Blue Sky really has the proper tools for us to sustain 20-30 submissions each week. But of course, as you guys know, you'll be the first to know if anything changes. But for right now, we're chilling. The last detail is submissions close about an hour to an hour and a half before the show starts. So you have roughly about 7 days before submissions close. This is just to get a head count, and again, we are a live show. So this is just to prevent anybody from being like, "Yo, can I come through and submit?" When we've had somebody, over here waiting for like a week for the for the show to come through. So that's really why we cap it off as well. But again, we are a free flow show, and a live show, so it just makes it easier on us to really get a head count and make sure everything goes good. So outside of that, that's pretty much all the details for the Music Mondays podcast. So let's see who we have from our Patreon squad tonight, and let's see the rest of the community. So actually, hold on, we got Jordan Andrew, we got TDG, we got the homie Blank Thought, we got King Mark, and I think that's it. Yeah, so we got almost all of our Patrons tonight. Let's go. That is massive. That is actually so massive. Okay. Mark, welcome on in. Happy Monday, my friend. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hope you're well. Hope you're chilling. Let's get it, baby. So, we're going to go through our Patrons and then followed by the rest of the community submissions. Our first Patron of the night, the homie Jordan Andrew, aka SLM. Very talented alternative hip hop producer, vocalist, really a genre blender, for being honest. But they submitted a track titled "Like This," and I think this is relatively new. This is like very new, I think. So let's see what we got here. Okay, wait, no. So we got a little bit of a title change here. Disaster Part 1 and 2. Okay. So this is about to get real. Also, this picture is so fresh. I like this picture a lot. That's fire. Actually just published 5 minutes ago. Let's get it, Jordan. Prod Jordan Andrew, Disaster Part 1 and 2. Formerly known as Like This. Okay. A little, from a new project. And we got lyrics and description. Okay. I'm down. Alright, let's get into it. Jordan Andrew, Disaster Part 1 and 2. Damn, bro. Speed is actually crazy.
I'm starting to feel like I kinda get it now. Don't call me crazy, call me when you see this, call me down. I've been looking for what goes around to come around. I've been looking for what's going down, what's up right now. Find me somewhere I don't need to be, I've been away. I'm restarting shit immediately cause I'm not okay. For all my heart, only ask to see another day. I'm not that smart, only ask for enough to stay. Enough to stay on track and get me to a better place. I love to play it back and thinking still of better days. I left what hope I had behind and now I'm face to face with all the fear that I can find. Get me out this place. I've been really into just a different mental space. I get really freaky visions from behind my face. I let everything move past me, this is not a race. You get worried if I'm happy, so I hide my face. I've been trying not to act out, there's a time and place. I'm just trying to go back, now there's a feeling that I chase. I'm still flying, can't look back, like I'm still at that place. I'm still lying and it's bad, cause it's really not a face. And I'm starting to feel like I kinda get it now. Don't call me crazy, call me when you see this, calm me down. I've been looking for what goes around to come around. I've been looking for what's going down, what's up right now. Find me somewhere I don't need to be, I've been away. I'm restarting shit immediately cause I'm not okay. I'm starting to feel like I kinda get it now. I'm starting to feel like I kinda get it now. I'm starting to feel like I kinda get it now.
Part 2.
Make room for me right now, I'm spinning out of control. I was holding on to something real, but I let go. I've been dying in the darkness, made it hard to grow. I'm still hiding with the farthest I could down that road. With that behind me, I might find a way, I feel it close. I've been on my way to find a place where no one goes. I've been slightly stuck in place, creative comatose. I just might need what's your face, and I was really close. I was really close here, feeling like no one knows. Looking for a way to get through before the door had closed. There's something crazy, so amazing yet irrelevant inside the very thing that provides me my intelligence. This isn't quite success yet, but by now I hope you're smelling this. This isn't my success, this is ours. We went through hell for this.
Holy shit. Oh man. Part 2 sealed the fucking deal there. What the fuck was that? That drum groove is addicting. Yeah, drums were crazy here. I like the fact that part 1 and 2 aren't like insanely different. Like I always think those mix of like two instrumentals are always sick, but like it sounds more fluid if they're like not insanely different. This one's like got a perfect flow into it. You know what I mean? It flows right into part 2 like super like just nicely. So I'm big on that. That was crazy. That was crazy. All right. Let's break this one down. So we're gonna talk about three things. Talk about the instrumental, talk about vocals, talk about the overall theme of Disaster. So, man, let's talk about the instrumental. Prod Jordan Andrew, so self prod. Mix is great per usual. Nothing clashing too overbearing. Vocals sit nice. Drums punch through nicely. No gripes whatsoever. I think Jordan's really coming into their mixing style when it comes to just strictly production. I always find that they have like a very smooth and like level, equal, just kind of chill style, which I really like, especially for the majority of their sounds. But I think that's something like noteworthy for sure. Um, Shining Star. I mean, the riffs and everything about this structure is so nice. But like Ghost said in the chat, I'm big on the drums. I feel like the drums were like very crucial in part 1. Part 2 is a bit more serious. Um, but when it comes to like part 1, which is like about 75% of the track, I'm definitely gonna go ahead and say drums. Everything from sound selection to patterns to the overall structure was really nice. So drums cleared for me, definitely, definitely. Drums all day. Let's talk vocals. So when it comes to vocals, we have standard Jordan Andrew here. Jordan has a more of a refined style, compared to their own uh their old SLM persona. I think there's a drastic like upgrade when it comes to SLM and Jordan Andrew. Um, Jordan definitely took a lot of the same sounds, but definitely just refined them and put them in a more refreshing and like upgraded kind of light. And I think that's very important to talk about here. Because you could, you know, trace back 10 episodes ago from the Music Money's podcast and find some SLM tracks with vocals that are very like, you could see how Jordan got led to this position. So before we get into that, vocal mix is great. Jordan always goes with this kind of like raw but crispy and like very like clean approach, which I think fits them nicely with their cadence and style. So again, I never have any gripes with their vocal mix. Always super solid, crisp, clean, sits nice on the instrumental. Drums cut through nicely, well balanced. You know what I mean? Usually the case, but you always got to point it out, much like the drums. So in terms of the shining star, when it comes to vocals, right? A couple of things really stuck out to me, especially throughout the duration of part one. Big on the cadence, big on the flow, big on the delivery. It's like a very like part one is a lot more emotional and part two is very serious and confident. But I feel like in part one, like even though it is more personal, I feel like the delivery was just as like um 10 toes, very like serious delivery. So that's one thing I really liked about that a lot. But when part two hit, I knew that writing was definitely going to be the shining star. Um, like damn near for even just this first, like just for part two alone. But what led up to part two is so important because I don't think part two would be as good if we didn't have part one before it. You know what I'm saying? Because like yeah, part two's good, but without part one before, it's like, so like this is very much a each of these tracks need each other kind of deal for me. Um, but overall, this was really nutty when it comes to vocals and writing is definitely a shining star, definitely. So instrumental great, definitely the drums, vocals great, definitely the writing. Let's talk theme. So aesthetics. You guys know the drill when it comes to these IRL photos, man. Always a safe choice, always a really good choice. And this one in particular, I feel like is really sick because it has like the eye cut off, but it's also like got that like acoustic foliage, late night city suburban aesthetic in a good way. You know what I mean? Like it has that like peaceful blissfulness to it. And most of these IRL covers do. That's what I really like about this one. Um so again, great, safe choice. Um hmm. So overall theme, obviously part 1 and part 2 are very like separate in terms of like their subject matter, but I do think that they're very important and they can't coexist without each other. Because part one could be its own track, yeah, but the fact that it's followed up by part two, almost like a redemption kind of verse and remix and like transition, I think really kind of like put this over for me as like a full story. You know what I mean? Like part one very personal. You transition to part two, and it's not exactly like positive because uh, sure you could look at it as like positive, but like it's more of like confident and like very 10 toes and very like taking what's mine kind of deal. And it was just so confident, and I think that's what this track needed to like balance everything out. Um, which I think Jordan does a really good job with anyway. So, well done, my friend. So, with that said, huge thank you to Jordan Andrew for the submission. Make sure you go follow them on SoundCloud. They're one away from 70, man. No, or don't just keep it at 69. No, I'm just kidding. Go follow Jordan on SoundCloud, man. And of course, make sure you follow Jordan on Twitter. They are 3 follows away from 340. Go show them some love on the Bird app, my friends. And of course, every artist featured in today's episode and every episode will be linked in the description of the YouTube re-upload. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already, man. We are 2 subscribers away from 200, man. 2 subscribers away from 200. We're definitely going to come up with a little bit of a celebration or something when we hit that. But again, if you're not subbed, go check out the channel. We upload 2 times a week, every Thursday and Saturday. Full podcast episodes, exclusive segments, a whole lot of good stuff's available on the channel. So go show these artists in the channel some love. And of course, if you already subbed, thank you, my friends. Thank you for showing the Music Money channel some love on YouTube. But on to our next Patreon of the night, the homie TDG. First single on my debut album, The To-Do List. Proud and performed by me, mixed and mastered, and art by Cole Gerard. Oh, yeah. So this is a different track, but with the same art that we spoke a little bit about last week. This will be good. But for those of you that don't know, TDG, a very talented alternative hip-hop vocalist and producer. Let's see what we got this week. Pause that right quick. Yeah, I mean, this art's always like it's like so album worthy. It's crazy. But we'll we'll touch base on that for sure. Brought him before by me, mixed and mastered by Cole Gerard. First single on my debut album, The To-Do List. Let's get into it. TDG, make answers. This drop's gonna be crazy.
Not now, Mr. McLean, some other time.
Question it, what the message is. I'm stressing shit. Choose our destiny. Demons here, shine, let them in. Closing in, rough headed in. Lost my regiment, sparks ain't checking in. Heat sweating in, I'm sweating up my skin. Etching the will to live, ain't much more to give. It alright, nah. Sergeant boss, death could be the cause. Can't be ready for a loss. Traumatized, can't sleep, I just toss. Is this or is this not what I thought? Don't you my mind to connect the dots, I'm lost. Can't catch a trace, no, not my face. What the fuck is this case? I can't explain, am I insane? I need answers, plain direct as heck. Found it too complex, no index, can't offset. Oh shit, I'm so upset, what is there left to check? Hey, question my mark, guessing the part. Stretch apart, stress in the start. But look apart, I'm in the dark. Water's murky, and the shore is far and large. Tell me, can we chill? Quit yelling. They say time is telling, but I don't know the time. Middle of the line, still no surprise. I can't realize what's real, what is lies. I don't feel fine. That my shadow, I always see mine. Follow behind, high past the tree line. Why do I keep thinking it can change and rewind? Yeah. Feel like I already did this, doing it again. Going against resistance. What's the difference? It's the distance. Can't control it, so gun in my head, but my grave I won't dig it. The man to blame, I've been it. Set in stone, it's written. In between the lines, it's hidden, not missing. Can't listen, I'm still sitting.
Not now, Mr. McLean, some other time.
Question it, what the message is. I'm stressing shit. Choose our destiny. Demons here, shine, let them in. Closing in, rough headed in. Lost my regiment, sparks ain't checking in. Heat sweating, I'm sweating up my skin. Etching the will to live, ain't much more to give. Ain't alright.
Okay. Holy shit. Wow, yeah, so we've reacted to a couple tracks off of this project, and this is definitely gonna be such a unique and like variety filled project, man. This definitely is. So this was awesome. This was awesome. Let's break this one down. You guys know the drill. We're talking about three things here. Talk about the instrumental, talk about vocals, talk about the overall theme of Make Answers. So let's talk instrumental, man. Prod TDG. So this is our second self-produced track in a row, which is kind of cool. But let's talk mix. When it comes to the instrumental mix, very solid. Drums were great. Nothing clashing too overbearing. Everything kind of had its own space. Crisp. Has enough mud left in it too to like leave that like griminess of it in. I feel like the drums definitely needed a little bit of grime, and I'm glad that that was like emphasized on in this instrumental. Just a little bit though, you know what I mean? Because it's easy to go overboard with it, but this one in particular definitely was very solid when it came to like leaving a little bit of mud, right? But overall the mix was solid when it comes to the instrumental, very solid. Shining Star. You know, the mel and like the sound selection is really crazy, but I'm also pretty big on the drums. But again, I think the thing that's pretty like underrated here is got to be the structure. I feel like the structure here you could kind of look over, kind of taking everything in, right? But I feel like the structure was like very much needed here, but also really well constructed, right? It's a lot of the simple things and a lot of how the instrumental comes back in, and it's just very like small changes, but it's very specific, and it kind of like makes the track very refreshing for sure. So definitely structure, but drums are definitely a close second. Let's talk vocals though, because vocals, lots to discuss here. Lots to discuss. So when it comes to vocals, Cole Gerard on the mix. So again, a very solid level, equal mix for sure. TDG's delivery was great. Everything cuts through on the instrumental very nicely. Drums cut through, vocals sit nice. Everything nice and level. Yeah, I don't have any gripes with this vocal mix at all. Um, Pretty much like TDG at their finest in 2023. You know what I mean? As long as they keep like progressing their style, that'll always get better and more refined as well. As far as the vocal mix, definitely well done. Shining Star. Couple really like important things to discuss here that you could really like overlook. Um I feel like flow and cadence could be very underrated if like you weren't really paying attention to it. I definitely think delivery is like a close second to that. But writing was very much like it was filled with so much variety of bars and like was telling a story, but like also like the flow was so in your face that like you were just taking everything in. You know what I mean? Like you're just really taking it all in. So it's a very special track in that aspect. Um, so I kind of want to, I kind of want to go with flow and cadence, but something about writing is definitely really crazy on this track. Maybe I will go with writing. Yeah, I probably will go with writing because writing gives this track so much like replayability and makes you want to go back to it. For sure, it does. So definitely writing, 100%. So instrumental solid, definitely structure. Vocal solid, definitely the writing. Let's talk theme. So when it comes to the overall theme, aesthetics, things like that, um, we spoke a little bit about the to-do list official art here. I think Cole did a really good job when it comes to like actually nailing the mark for like a project worthy cover. But I feel like this matches TDG's very much like fantasy kind of um interesting approach when it comes to lyrics, but also just brings that like 90s, early 2000s Cartoon Network kind of vibe. So I've always been like a big fan of this kind of aesthetic. So I think Cole did a really good job, and I like that choice for a project cover for sure. Um, so overall theme, make answers. I mean, realistically, simply put, technically, the theme and everything is technically in the hook. You can kind of like understand where TDG is going, but throughout the track, they definitely break it down, especially when they're talking about blurring lines and so many like smaller bars and punchlines you can pick out that are very like clever and like it's a very like great showcase of their lyricism because I feel like TDG is a very like lyrical vocalist and artist. So like I feel like you got to go back and listen to these a couple times to really like break down a lot of these lyrics. But TDG definitely did a good job kind of like connecting the dots here, but also keeping this very much like not experimental, but it had a lot of variety to it in terms of like everything we know of TDG right now. So that was definitely positive for sure. With that said, a huge shout out to TDG. Thank you so much for the submission, my friend. Much love. Make sure you follow TDG on SoundCloud. They are 4 away from 980. And of course, make sure you follow TDG on Twitter. They are 8 away from 170. Go show them some love on the bird app, man. And of course, every artist featured in today's episode and every episode will be linked in the description of the YouTube free upload. Of course, make sure you subscribe to Music Mondays YouTube channel if you haven't already. We're approaching 200 subscribers, man. We are like 2 away. Literally, I think we're at 198 currently. So huge shout out to everybody that's already subbed the channel. If you're not subbed, go check out the channel. We post 2 times a week, every Thursday and Saturday. Full podcast episodes, exclusive segments, a whole lot of good stuff's available on the channel. Go show the channel and these artists some love. Let's get it, baby. Huge shout out to our 2 current Patreons that submitted tonight. The homie TDG and Jordan Andrew. So, up next, we got the homie Blank Thought, who's also a Music Money's Patreon. They submitted a track titled The Late Night. Now, Blank Thought is also a Music Money staff writer, but outside of that, they're very, very talented hip-hop producer. And they submitted a track titled The Late Night. And the caption reads, "Not prod me, but amazing nonetheless." Shit, so we'll definitely take your word for it. For sure. Now, this is a track from Zim's project as well, but it's also featuring Johnny and Parth. So let's see what we got here, chap. Now, we spoke a little bit about memoirs as well. So definitely go check out last week's episode, and any of our previous episodes, really, because this is a very intense project. But The Late Night with Zim, Parth, and Johnny. We've done some work with Zim and Johnny, but Parth, I believe we are slightly unfamiliar with. So let's see what we got here. Oh wow, so we did Void last week, and now this week we have the Late Night. Okay, this is gonna be good. This is definitely gonna be good. Let's get into it. Zim, Parth, Johnny, The Late Night.
Yeah, I do my driving through the late night and open up my mind to free myself and get these rhymes right. My confidence been building, so I know I'm shining so bright. I take flight, mix and master till I just can't blink right. Moving solo coaster, making waves up by the ocean, saying Zimmy ain't shit, so I raise a toast to show 'em. Here to push the notion, mix the OJ with the potion, rapping better than these posers. Time to put the show in motion. Ain't never been the one to go and give up easy. Won't stop till you pussies open up and see me. See bigger things when I'm off and dreaming. Sit back and just watch if you don't believe me.
Gray clouds looming, the past gloomy. I'm back rejuvenated, chances threw them away. Had my mood waving for ages. Stayed calm, collected, cool and patient, but I'm through with waiting, moving, shaking, dancing in the rain on my bluest days. In the dark became new, the movement mirror lunar phases. I ain't tripping if the confidence of a fool be waning. Stage illuminated, spit buns and burn a blue flame. Butane experiments cooking in the lab, the booth is makeshift. Eating vegan soul food, cadence, unfinished records spinning like lazy Susans. Ruminating on my fruits of labor, gotta get my bread up, but the faith in his communion wafers. Uprooted pain for place, thinking do salt in the womb, bring flavor. Seeing sides, taking reputations, boozy faded waves, duplicated climate going through brutal change. Atlantic finna loop pay us, labels peep the cream of the crop, USDA. 360s make us pay them loops we breaking.
Damn.
Johnny. Memoirs.
Jesus. That was crazy. I saw like the sub 2 mark, and I kind of knew that it had to be a fucking, like, go in, kill track, leave. Like, I kind of had a feeling it'd be like that, for sure. So you guys know the drill. Let's break this one down. We're gonna talk about 3 things here. We're talking about the instrumental, talk about vocals, talk about the overall theme of this Zim track. So, instrumental was crazy. Zim and this whole section of hip hop artists and producers have such a unique taste when it comes to instrumentals, and this one is no different at all. Mix is fucking great, super crisp, nothing clashing to overbearing at all. You know, Zim has had like one of the most steady mixes, along with Blank, along with Johnny, like everybody in that crew is just really consistent mixes, and this track definitely falls in line with that to me. Super clean, level, loud, nothing clashing to overbearing. It's just perfect. Everything just has so much personality in this mix, which is just great. So, Shining Star when it comes to instrumental. I love these melodies, man. These melodies are very memorable, but the drums get the fucking groove in. The drums definitely hit hard, like hit very hard. But not like crazy. It's just they knock in the way that you'd want them to knock. You know what I mean? Like I bet you the car test for this track was probably crazy. Um, so partially that has to do with the mix, but again, like at the end of the day, like when it comes to these drums, man, it was so crucial between how hard they knock and cut through everything, and like really like the groove and bounce to them were really well done, and then sound selection to just top it off was perfect, definitely. So drums all day, absolutely. Let's talk vocals. So when it comes to vocals here, we have a very standard Zim mix. We've heard enough of Zim really like fully grasp their style and really like really know what to expect when it comes to their mix. And again, always very crisp, always very level. Super solid, nothing clashing too overbearing. Drums cut through nicely. Vocals always sit nice in the instrumental, and Zim just has this crisp, clean approach. That's not like super raw, but it's very it's very it's just very clean and level. But it doesn't have too much rawness to it. You know what I mean? So, vocal mix is great. Um, hmm. So vocal Shining Star is really crazy because there's two verses on here. Um, Flow and cadence were crazy for both, and writing was crazy for both. So it's like, ugh, this one, this one's it's a bit tough to gauge because I'm big on the flow and cadence, but the writing was fucking crazy. Um, Nothing but bars and like really solid delivery all the way through, for sure. Um, the fact that it's called like the late night kind of makes sense as well. So it's like, um, yeah, I'm gonna go with writing, man. Writing kind of like is what's gonna take you back to this track. To be honest with you, like has a lot of bounce and groove to it, but writing is just too good, too good. So instrumental solid. Um, Definitely drums. Vocal solid, definitely the writing. Let's talk theme. So I've spoke a little bit about this memoirs cover here. Um, I think probably like two or three times by now. But this cover definitely is like not only album worthy, but it's so like well touched up and super high quality. And it has that like first show, like first big show in a big venue kind of vibe. Like I just love the concept of it, and it's called Memoirs. Like I always have to talk about that because it's just a really well thought out cover. And I thought it was really well done. So aesthetics are on point, but overall theme, you know, calling it the late night is definitely one of those like, you know, you could like look for a theme here, but there isn't anything that like is overly like, you know, this is what this song is about. Da da da. It's definitely like one of those late night grind. You know, you just finished at 3 a.m. It gets mixed the next day, and it goes fucking crazy. Because both of these artists like went insane with their verses, like, and if anything, it was very confident, 10 toes kind of feeling. Like it was very confident, especially when it comes to the punchlines and the writing. A really great showcase of lyricism, really great, especially this one. I could see how this one could be like a sleeper on the whole project. Definitely, definitely. With that said, huge shout out to Zim, Blake, Dot, Johnny, and Par. Thank you so much for the submission, my friends. Much love. Make sure you follow Zim on Spotify. And of course, make sure you follow Zim, Zim and Blank Dot. Make sure you follow them both on Twitter. But Blank Dot's approaching 1.1K on Twitter, so huge shout out to Blank Dot for the submission, my friend. Thank you. And of course, every artist featured in today's episode and every episode will be linked in the description of the YouTube free upload. Of course, make sure you subscribe to the Music Mondays YouTube channel if you haven't already. We are approaching 200 subaroonies, man. We're about 2 subscribers away, so huge shout out to everybody that's already subbed to the channel. If you're not subbed, go check out the channel. Go show us some love if you like what you see. Full podcast episodes, exclusive segments, a whole lot of good stuff's available over there. So go check out the channel and go show these artists some love. But up next, we have our last Patreon of the night, the homie King Mark. Now, man, so before we get into that, huge shout out to the rest of our patrons. Jordan, Andrew, TDG, Blank Dot, thank you guys so much for your submissions. But back to King Mark. Mark is an artist that has not only had 2023 on lock, but has a lot in store for the rest of the year. Mark definitely had a stellar year, but also at the same time, um, their ceiling is like really, really fucking crazy. But a super talented alternative vocalist submitted a track titled Mercedes. Let's see what we got here from King Mark this week on the Music Mondays podcast. Exclusive unreleased track. So you're hearing it here first on Music Mondays. Exclusive unreleased King Mark Mercedes. What a fucking bop. Holy shit. Now this is another one that's like, come in, destroy the beat, leave. Like, damn. Holy shit. Okay, man. Okay. Alright. Exclusive unreleased King Mark, my friends. That was, wow. Mark's flows recently have just been like really like an insane fucking improvement, bro. Like I was thinking about last week's submission and now this. Fuck. Okay. So you guys know the drill. Let's break this one down. We're talking about 3 motherfucking things. We're talking about the instrumental. We're talking about vocals. Talk about the overall theme of Mercedes. So, instrumental. Prod by the homie Ollie M. Now, we've heard a lot of tracks with Ollie at this point, and Mark and Ollie are definitely a really good duo. I think Ollie has the perfect production style. The perfect like all fast-paced pop that's just like really great for Mark. So again, I like this duo. When it comes to the mix, I gotta say again, Ollie's one of those producers that I've kind of learned throughout a lot of like recent Mark submissions that they have quite a well refined kind of mixing style, especially when it comes to the instrumental. Very very level, nothing clashing to overbearing. Everything kind of has its own personality. I definitely think this is a instrumental mix that's like perfect. You know what I mean? No gripes whatsoever. Joey's got to talk about it for sure. Shining Star. I mean, I love the melody, but the drums are so fast paced and the patterns are perfect. The sound selection on the drums are perfect. Drums take the cake. Like it almost influences Mark's flow so much, and I feel like the drums are just crucial here, very crucial. So, instrumental solid, definitely drums the shining star. Let's talk vocals here. So, mixed by King Mark, right? Mark has been getting really, really solid when it comes to their vocal mix. And arguably that's like such a more important skill outside of like self production, right? I think mixing your own vocals is one of those things that's like very important because like sometimes you might have to. And Mark has been really refining this pitched electronic vocal style, and I think it's really starting to shape up and really like push to a new level. Because like I said at the start, Mark has a crazy ceiling, but when it comes to their vocal mix and Mark kind of taking on the role for themselves, I think it's like, oh, okay, you know what I mean? You're like, wow, And this is definitely one of those tracks where you can see the improvement from track to track, especially like from last week's to now. It's not like a crazy improvement, but you can just tell that it's like very like they're so similar in the aspect that they just feel upgraded. Feels like a new level. But with that said, the mix for the vocals, great. No gripes whatsoever. Um, hmm. So, vocal shining star. I love this writing. I feel like it's a very specific type of writing, and Mark does so well with it. Um, but the thing that really takes the cake for me, just like last week, is the flow and cadence. Like I can't believe how much Mark has improved the flow and cadence when it comes to these fast-paced, alternate pop kind of styles. Like the flow and cadence it's just on point. It's just on point. Like it's fuck. Like it doesn't like take over the cake in terms of like writing and things like that, but the flow and cadence is like what this song is. Just it's the meat of this song is the flow and cadence, right? That's what's gonna keep coming, or what's gonna keep people coming back is how fast paced it is and how Mark can actually keep up and spit some like real shit. So definitely flow and cadence. Um, so instrumental solid. Definitely the drums, vocal solid, definitely the flow and cadence and delivery. Not even a question. Let's talk theme. So cover art by Mark, and Mark has been killing the aesthetics as well, though. Like it was probably about last year or so where Mark really took up this specific color palette and style and aesthetic that they really wanted to expand upon. And now covers have just made it to the point where you can always expect it, but at the same time, like they're always really well done and super like minimalistic, but very much like King Mark as far as like the brand goes. Because like you see one of these covers, you know it's going to be a Mark song. You know what I mean? Or even just like slightly this style, especially when it comes to the font. So like it's a good identification, and this one in particular definitely takes like the simplistic route, and I think it's like really really solid, really solid. So definitely a good single choice. Um, Overall theme, right? So we have a very interesting balance. Mark has always done really good, like really well, with kind of blending, you know, positive and personal lyrics with like a more fast paced, high energy, alternate pop kind of sound. And I think they balance each other out in like the yin and yang, good and the bad, bad and the good kind of deal. And this track is no different. Mark does a really good job though, like being very descriptive. Like I think what separates Mark's writing, and especially songs like this, is like it's very specific, but it's so subliminal. So like Mark kind of gets their thoughts out, but like the listener can like apply any of these lyrics to where they relate to it. So like unintentionally, I feel like there's a lot of room for people to like relate to this and new listeners to be able to like feel something from this. And then the other part of it is like even if you don't necessarily relate to it, you're going to love the high energy, fast paced vibe you get from this. So when it comes to this theme, very much a personal theme, but also like, you know, centered around one bar. And I think that's like perfect. You know what I mean? Because it just expands upon it throughout the track. And it's definitely gonna make you want to go back to it for sure. A lot of like replayability here, definitely. But with that said, a huge shout out to King Mark. Thank you so much for the submission, my friend. Much love. Make sure you follow Mark on SoundCloud. They are 10 followers away from 190, a great milestone. And of course, make sure you follow Mark on Twitter. They are 2 motherfucking followers away from 300, man. That's a great milestone again. Literally 2 followers, man. Shit. Go show some love to Mark on the bird, my friends. And of course, every artist featured in today's episode and every episode will be linked in the description of the YouTube re-upload. Make sure you subscribe to Music Mondays podcast if you haven't already. We're approaching 200 subscribers on our YouTube channel, man. We upload 2 times a week, every Thursday, every Saturday, full podcast episodes, exclusive segments, and a lot of good stuff's available there. Go show the channel and these artists some love. Let's get it, Mark. Yeah, man, we're literally 2 subs away, so definitely go check out the channel and subscribe if you like what you see. So, that about tops it off for all of our Patrons tonight. Huge shout out to Jordan, TDG, Blank Thought, and King Mark. Thank you guys so much for your submissions tonight. But let's hop right into the rest of our community submissions, my friends. So up next, we got the homie Braden. Now, Braden submitted a track titled "Go Through With It." Now, we interviewed Braden about 2 weeks ago. Really, really solid artist. Very, very insightful. Has a really great mind for creativity. And again, another artist with a crazy ceiling, but a alternative vocalist. Again, submitted a track titled "Go Through With It." So let's see what we got here. Let's see here. We got the homie PDKTP. Okay. Brand new Braden per usual. Let's get into it. Braden, go through with it.
Talk a lot at the same time I don't talk enough, but I can tell I'ma have a broken heart again.
Holy shit.
Have to restart again, but I don't wanna mess it up with you, but there's nothing I can do, so I guess I'll go through with it. I'll go through with it. I don't know what to say, but I'm not okay. It's so hard to talk to you, yeah, I feel that way. And I try to make an effort, and you lie, but it's for the better. And it's so dumb, because you always talk a lot. Yeah, I need to stop it all, slamming my head through the window. And I know that I can talk a lot, at the same time I don't talk enough, but I can tell I'ma have a broken heart again.
Dude.
I'll have to restart again, but I don't wanna mess it up with you, but there's nothing I can do, so I guess I'll go through with it. I'll go through with it.
Damn. Holy shit. Okay, that was like the pacing of that song was really on point, because it just built, and then the hook comes in, and the outro's just wow. Really well done. Really well done. You guys know the drill, so let's break this one down. We're talking about three things here. Talk about the instrumental, talk about vocals, talk about the overall theme. I'll go through with it. So, let's talk instrumental here, because this is like, Braden always has a very like solid choice when it comes to their instrumentals. They always do such a good job when it comes to really knowing what they like to sound on and what they like to go on, and like really like what their instrumental preference is. You know what I mean? They truly know. So this is a really solid choice in my opinion. But mix is great. Nothing classy, too overbearing at all. Drums are solid. Everything cuts through nice. Nice and level. Nice and refined. No gripes with the instrumental mix at all. Not really a shocker, because, Braden has like one of the most consistent mixes that we've seen on the show. So definitely not really like, a surprise whatsoever. But always got to point it out for sure. Instrumental Shining Star. I feel like the melody is so catchy that it's like, I want to say the melody, but the drums are very much like, they give that perfect bounce and emotion that this track kind of needs as well. But I feel like the melody is so like, again, catchy. It's got replayability. I feel like that's the thing that you're gonna think of when you think of this song instrumentally. So definitely the melody for sure. So let's talk vocals. Vocal mix again is something, really something that's like, uh pretty standard with Braden at this point. I always think they do a really good job when it comes to their vocal mix. Again, nothing clashing to overbearing, super level. Really has like the perfect everything, you know, from delivery to rawness to emotion. Like the mix is just perfect. Definitely perfect. Again, no gripes with the vocal mix, but always got to point that out. Um, Vocal Shining Star. So two excellent written verses on here with a lot of like really solid writing. But the thing that really stuck with me was the hook. I feel like Braden really went in on this fucking hook. So the hook clears. I love the verses as well. Like they totally like fill in the gaps. Um, as far as storytelling goes and following up the hook. But like man, the hook was just like a crazy slap in the face, and it's hard not to get behind it. You know. So the instrumental solid. Um, Definitely the melody. Vocal solid. Definitely the hook. Although I do think Braden and PD definitely killed it. Let's talk theme though. So, aesthetics. You know, I always talk about Braden's covers, but it's always just because I'm so biased towards the aesthetic that they took, and I always thought it was always a pleasure to see what kind of like simple cover they'd come up with next, and this one falls right in line as well. Again, simple, minimalistic, always does the job, and you know you can see the consistency across the majority of their covers. You know what I mean? So it's like it worked out well in my opinion, and you know you can go read further details about that in our interview on the Music Money's website, but um definitely a fan of their aesthetics for sure. But overall theme, go through with it. I mean, subliminal messages is the name of the game here. Definitely a very personal track when it comes to really getting your feelings out about people, like not not really being there for you when you need them to be, or even when you're really like trying your hardest, whether it be in their life, in your life, or just so many other circumstances. I feel like Braden and PD definitely really like took that to the next level. I think the hook describes it perfectly, but the song title is also like very much like subliminal, like, oh, okay, like you can definitely get behind this if you've ever had any of these feelings, and if you can't, you're definitely gonna enjoy the sonic aspects of this for sure. Um, just because Braden does such a good job really like articulating their feelings in like a simple way, but also being raw and honest. Like they definitely don't pull any punches or hold back at all. So well done. With that said, a huge shout out to Braden. Thank you so much for the submission, my friend. Much love. Make sure you follow Braden on Spotify. And of course, make sure you follow Braden on Twitter. They are literally 2 followers away from 40, man. Go show Braden some love. Super talented. Go show him some love on the bird, man. Go show him some love on the bird. So with that said, every artist featured in today's episode and every episode will be linked in the description of the YouTube free upload. And of course, make sure you subscribe to the Music Money's YouTube channel if you haven't already. We're approaching 200 sub-earnings on the main channel, man. Make sure you go show these artists in the main channel some love. I think we're about 2 away, and we upload it 2 times a week, every Thursday, every Saturday. Full podcast episodes, exclusive segments, a whole lot of good stuff's available over there. So definitely go check that out and go show these artists some love. So, my friends, let's continue on with our community submissions of the week. Now, up next, we got the homie Offspring Mysterious. Now, Offspring's pretty high up in the list this week, so that's always really cool. Offspring, a multi-talented artist, producer, editor, writer, graphic designer. Literally so many titles, man. But Offspring submitted Walking Performance. Let's see what we got here. Okay, wait, let's see here. These descriptions are always on point. Okay, so we have like a little bit of a follow-up to the show visual that we had gotten last week from Offspring. And Offspring's caption was biggest stage of them all. Let's see what we got here, man. Let's 1080 full screen, full volume. Let's go. Let's see what we got here. Also got a little bit of mobile footage as well. This is gonna be good. Ah, shit. Mhm. That's a fire photo. The crowd sound, no way, man. And the moonwalk. Oh, this is great. Nah, this is great. Oh, this is great. That guy on the right? Oh shit. Oh shit. No way, bro. That's good. That is good. Thank you, thank you. Holy fuck.
Oh yeah, I'm just scratching the surface.
He's like, yeah, well done. Well done. Later. That was such a W, what the fuck? Damn. Okay. Wow. Well fucking done. So let's talk about it, man, because Offspring just kind of gave us an extended version of last week's video. So I think this was like a really creative to kind of like slightly like showcase it a bit and then kind of go full blown with the concept and actually get a large portion of the track in there. You know, when it comes to the music art and a lot of Offspring's uploads, they've been taking advantage of really bringing visuals back to a lot of their older tracks as well. So that's why this one is like really, really cool to see. So we're talking about two things because obviously instrumental. We're talking about the instrumental itself, and we're gonna talk about the visual here. So, let's talk instrumental because I believe I've spoke a bit about natures before, but we're gonna break it down again for the purpose of this video as well. So, the mix again is great. Nothing clashing to overbearing. Drums are level. Everything's nice and even. I didn't really have any gripes with this mix whatsoever. A very classic, like, well-rounded mix, especially for the instrumental itself. Again, drums are solid. Everything kind of like coexists really nicely, so the mix is definitely there. Instrumental shining star. So drums are obviously a big part of this, right? Keeping up the bounce, keeping up the whole kind of just energy of this track. But the melody is something again that you could really, really get stuck in your head. Like you really could get this like super stuck in your head. So for that reason, I'm definitely gonna go ahead and say melody for sure. Definitely melody. Drums are definitely a close second though. Structure's always like up for discussion as well. But definitely the melody for sure. So when it comes to this visual here, we had a shorter version last week, but now we kind of have like almost a full one-track performance on this stage. When it comes to Offspring Mysterious, Walking Onslaughts, and the universe that they've essentially created for their platform is really coming together. Like, bringing in ideas about performing at shows, like, is actually such a cool concept idea for what Offspring has going on. Like, a lot of their lore and story has come so far, and the fact that we're getting edits like this is like Offspring's really coming into their own with what they're comfortable with, what they like, and what they think Offspring Mysterious, the character, the artist, and the individual, and really bring to the table, to be honest with you. The thing that takes this one over, for me though, definitely the Shining Star, is the pure quality. Like, not only are the transitions and the smaller effects like a really nice addition, especially where like Offspring's just come so far with editing. With this one in particular, the fact that it's show content and it's like a show concept, I think Offspring does a really good job when it comes to like limiting the effects, but also like getting the proper shots and lining them up together. And actually, like the split right here, like this was like, what the fuck was that? Shit like that's like really cool, and I think is like amazing for so many different platforms, right? Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Like, this is perfect. But by far, the Shining Star is definitely the editing. It's really well done. Close second, though, is definitely the concept. I like the show concept a lot, especially with Offspring Mysterious actually being an artist. The concept is great. Really, really great. So with that said, a huge shout out to Offspring Mysterious. Thank you so much for the submission, my friend. Much, much love. Make sure you follow and subscribe to Offspring Mysterious on YouTube. They are 3 away from 130. And of course, make sure you follow Offspring Mysterious on Twitter. They are 10 away from 850. Finally, 10 away, man. Let's go. Go show some love to Offspring on the Bird app, man. And of course, every artist featured in today's episode and every episode will be linked in the description of the YouTube re-upload. And of course, make sure you subscribe to the Music Mondays YouTube channel if you haven't already. We're approaching 200 subscribers on the main channel. Literally 2 away, man. We're at 198. So if you haven't subbed, go check out the channel and subscribe if you like what you see. And if you've already subbed, thank you. We appreciate you here at Music Mondays. So, per usual, man, we are about halfway through episode 134, so you guys know what that means. We're going to take a quick motherfucking commercial, a break. And when we return, we're going to go through the rest of our community submissions. We have some real good fucking bangers coming up. But for those of you that are tuned in or watching on YouTube, make sure you get up, go get a drink, go get a snack, go get a little smoke, go do whatever you got to do. And we'll be right back with the Music Mondays podcast, episode 134. Sit tight. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Music Mondays podcast. I'm your host, Op Slays. This is episode 134. How we doing, man? We had a decent break there, but hop right back into the community submissions. So now I actually put a sweatshirt on because my AC is brick, and we left off with the homie Offspring of Sirius. But up next, we got the homie Mac 2 times. Now, Mac has been consistently improving throughout all of 2023, has had a really good library of singles, an alternative hip-hop vocalist, and they submitted a track titled Rush Hour. Let's see what we got here. Brand new, actually, 6 days ago. Really solid Mac 2 times cover here, too. Let's get into it. Mac 2 times Rush Hour.
These niggas don't know what's coming. I feel like I turned to a beast. Only stay focused on missions. Addicted to getting the green. Value my life more any day. I could get put on the tee. Me and my niggas some dogs, but trust me, we don't got a leash. Me and my niggas some dogs, at least put the gold on the collar. Bling, bling. I graduated with knowledge, but I know I've been a scholar. Taking my foot off the brake, hit the gas and keep going harder. I want it all right now, so a shower, I ain't talking Carter. We no Carter. Ain't got no more time to be psyched. I'm going for number one. If I make a million, but need me another one. Fuck it, why not? Guess I might as well double up. Need Jolly Ranchers with lean, put it in the cup. Ain't talking racks, carry my cellular. Chasing the money way more than a regular. Dude tried to sneak me and miss, so I fucked him up. Don't get up on his teeth, then his knees buckled. On down the line, niggas ain't gonna be rich as us. Yeah, racist ass cops always trying to get rid of us. Yeah, get the crowd jumping at shows, you know it be lit as fuck. Yeah, it ain't nobody like me. I feel like I'm one-on-one. Yeah, these niggas don't know what's coming. I feel like I turned to a beast. Only stay focused on missions. Addicted to getting the green. Value my life more any day. I could get put on the tee. Me and my niggas some dogs, but trust me, we don't got a leash. Me and my niggas some dogs, at least put the gold on the collar. Bling, bling. I graduated with knowledge, but I know I've been a scholar. Taking my foot off the brake, hit the gas and keep going harder. I want it all right now, so a shower, I ain't talking Carter. Lean no Carter.
Damn.
Hating ass niggas. Get off my dick while you fiend for attention. If you feeling bold, you would give me a mention. Just give me a mention. In the next couple years, gonna be on the street begging. These niggas don't know what's coming. I feel like I turned to a beast. Only stay focused on missions. Addicted to getting the green. Value my life more any day. I could get put on the tee. Me and my niggas some dogs, but trust me, we don't got a leash. Me and my niggas some dogs, at least put the gold on the collar. Bling, bling. I graduated with knowledge, but I know I've been a scholar. Taking my foot off the brake, hit the gas and keep going harder. I want it all right now, so a shower, I ain't talking Carter. Lean no Carter.
Let's go, man. That was like really insane, actually. Solid outro as well. Very, very solid outro. So, let's break this one down, man. Mac is back. We're gonna talk about 3 things here. Talk about the instrumental, talk about vocals, talk about the overall theme of Rush Hour. So, man, oh man. Let's talk instrumental here. So, prod by Sperano. Mix is great. Nothing clashing, too overbearing. I like the drums a lot. Everything's nice and level. The melodies are fucking stellar here. Super equal. No real gripes with the instrumental mix whatsoever. It's super solid. I think this prod did a really good job. Definitely. So Shining Star when it comes to the instrumental. I love the drums. The drums keep up the fast pace. I like the sound selection on them. The bounce is nice. But the thing that really set me over was the melody. It gave that like electronic, futuristic, like anti-pop kind of synth flow. So the melody all day. Melody's just it for this track, definitely. Big fan of the melody. So let's talk vocals here. Man, oh man, oh man. So the vocal mix is great. Mac again has consistently refined their vocal mix and how they record and how they deliver, and everything's always been like such an improvement. And this one's no different. Another one in the collection where Mac has a really solid mix. Nothing clashing to overbearing. Nice and level. Vocals sit nice in the instrumental. Everything cuts through for sure. Um, yeah, no, I've always liked Mac's like raw yet again crisp. Um, different approach to their vocals. It's always worked out very very solid for them, to be honest with you. So the vocal mix is definitely stellar, but let's talk Shining Star. So I'm a big fan of the writing. Definitely a big fan of the writing. I like the flow and cadence and the delivery, but I think the hook is like one of the most well crafted hooks that we've seen from Mac two times. Definitely one of the most well crafted hooks for sure. Um, Especially in the terms of the aspect of like how they delivered it. I feel like this hook was like wow, you know what I mean. It was very refreshing to hear this from Mac two times. So the hook was definitely the shining star, at least to me. Um, so instrumental solid, definitely the melody. Vocal solid, definitely the hook. Let's talk theme. So aesthetics. Man. So Max kind of returning here with a more of a quote unquote realistic IRL cover. Which I think is a nice addition here. I definitely like Max kind of approach in this one. Mostly the text as well, because the majority of this is like barely altered. So I like the like simplistic minimalist approach. But the text is really what sets this off for me, especially as to where it matches the car and the image like really well. So simple but very effective. Well done. And of course you get the signature Mac two times parental advisory in the bottom right. So again, always really well done. So aesthetics on point. Let's talk overall theme. So Rush Hour, I feel like is more of like a symbolism towards like how fast paced and how bouncy this track is, as opposed to like an actual song meaning. Because Mac talks about a lot of like succession and a lot of like people doubting them and a lot of that stuff. So Mac kind of bounces back and forth on really a soul kind of subject that they're talking about but when it comes to like the overall track, um this is Mac essentially stating their fast track to success and very confident, very 10 toes, very like reassuring track, especially from somebody like Mac two times. um you know this is one where again probably just flowed out super simple, you know what I mean, flowed out super easy, really one of those tracks that's like wow, okay, you know what I mean. It really is, it really really is. um because like the hook just comes so differently and it keeps up that fast pace. So I feel like again Rush Hour wrapped under all this like lyricism and punchlines. I definitely think Mac did a really good job with this theme for sure. So with that said, huge shout out to Mac two times. Thank you so much for the submission, my friend. Much more love. Make sure you follow Mac on SoundCloud. They are 5 away from 30, man. Go get Mac to 30. And of course, make sure you follow Mac two times on Twitter. They are literally 2 followers away from 130. Go show Mac some love on the Bird app. And of course, every artist featured in today's episode and every episode will be linked in the description of the YouTube re-upload. And of course, make sure you subscribe to the Music Mondays YouTube channel if you haven't already. We're approaching 200 subscribers, man. We are literally 2 subs away. So make sure you go show some love to the channel and make sure you go show some love to these artists. And if you've already subbed, thank you, thank you, thank you. And if you're not though, we upload 2 times a week. Full podcast episodes, exclusive segments, whole lot of good stuff available on the main channel. So go show these artists on the main channel some love. Let's get chat. So man, let's get back into it. So our next submission is actually from the homie Ghost Candy. Now, Ghost made their return to music relatively recently, but this is a very talented alternative producer. Put out a project recently. We've reacted to it. At least a couple tracks from it, and then they submitted their brand new single, Can Robots Love? New single, another project coming soon. So again, super talented alternative producer. Has really had a great 2023, so I'm definitely excited to dive into this. Let's see what we got here. Can Robots Love? Let's find out. Ghost Candy, Can Robots Love? Oh shit, and we got lyrics in this bitch? Okay, let's get into it. Ghost Candy, Can Robots Love? Damn. Damn. Really solid outro. I like that outro a lot. Definitely like that outro a lot. Okay. Um, this was awesome, and like almost like a little different than what we're usually used to from Ghost Candy. So this will be really cool to dive into. So let's get into it. We're gonna talk about three things here. We're gonna talk about the instrumental, talk about vocals, talk about the overall theme of Can Robots Love. So let's talk instrumental. Self Prod by Ghost Candy. Mix is fucking great. Like the quality of the mix is just really stellar, especially when it comes to the instrumental itself. Nothing clashing at all, nothing overbearing, nothing doing too much, nothing with not enough space, nothing that really stuck out to me that was like oof. No gripes with the instrumental mix whatsoever. I think the drums knock. I feel like the melody is sitting very nicely. I definitely wouldn't change a thing. I like the instrumental mix for sure. Ghost usually has a very solid instrumental mix as well. I just want to point that out. So not really a shocker there, but you always want to talk about it, you know. So there's a couple things I really love about this instrumental in terms of the Shining Star. Melody's definitely up there, but the drums are such a crucial part here. Structure's another underrated one. I love the structure of the instrumental, but the melody is something that's like so vivid and replayable in your head, and it's gonna make you want to come back for more, especially if you like listening to music in the car, driving, things like that. This is one of those like get up and go tracks for sure. And I feel like the melody is really up there in terms of like one of the finer points of this track. So definitely the melody for sure. Let's talk vocals. So we have a a smaller set of vocals, but I do want to talk about them because there's a couple things to discuss realistically. So in terms of the mix, obviously Ghost went for like a very like pitched, almost like robotic sound here, and I think it worked out well for like what the track is. Very electronic, very like alternative pop, very like dance like bouncy. So like the vocal edit here is really fitting. I definitely don't think it's like out of place or anything like that. Especially when it comes to the mix. I really feel like the mix is like a very crucial part of that for sure. So with that said, the mix is stellar. Again, nothing clashing to overbearing. Vocals sit very nice on this instrumental. Everything cuts through nicely. I definitely wouldn't change a thing about the vocal mix. No gripes whatsoever. Vocal Shining Star. I definitely like the writing here a lot. And delivery was definitely on point. Cadence was on point. But I think the thing that really sold me was the structure and how it was placed. It wasn't like traditional verse, hook, verse. It was very well thought out and well placed on drops. And the structure just made this a real pleasure to listen to for these type of lyrics. Definitely. So structure all day. Absolutely. So instrumental solid. Definitely the melody. Vocal solid. Absolutely the structure. Writing and delivery, flow, and cadence are definitely close seconds though. So let's talk theme here. Aesthetics. So excellent fucking aesthetics, especially for like taking like a simpler approach, especially for a track that's going to be on a project. Like I definitely think this is a great like not like placeholder, but like it works out well for a single. It works out really well for a single. I like the font in particular. It's a very like digital electronic font, and then you have Ghost Candy. So yeah, no, simple, very effective, and aesthetics are kind of like on point for me, definitely. The overall theme, right? Can robots love? This is very much a theme that only Ghost Candy could really decipher. But there's a couple of ways that you could really take this, right? I mean, can robots love at face value? You have the vocals here that are mixed in a very electronic way. So that's one kind of nudge. And then throughout the lyrics, we have this kind of, it's right there in the line, my baby don't love me no more. So it's one of those like, can robots love? Like robots in terms of like people that are just apathetic or just selfless or selfish, I mean. People that act like robots, to be no feelings, no anything like that. So there's a couple metaphorical ways you could really take this, but I like Ghost's approach in the overall theme and making it one of those like futuristic, electronic, space like space club dance tracks realistically. But this one's got a more like electronic, futuristic kind of pop to it for sure. So well done, and definitely very excited to see what you come up with next and your future projects, my friend. So let's get it. You guys know the drill. Make sure you follow Ghost Candy on SoundCloud. They're 9 followers away from 90 over there in the cloud. And of course, make sure you follow Ghost Candy on Twitter. They are 4 followers away from quite literally 40 followers. So go show them some love on the bird as well. And of course, every artist featured in today's episode and every episode will be linked in the description of the YouTube free upload. And of course, make sure you subscribe to the Music Mondays YouTube channel if you haven't already. We're approaching 200 Subarunis on the main channel. We upload 2 times a week, every Thursday, every Saturday, full podcast episodes, exclusive segments, a whole lot of good stuff's available over there. So definitely go show these artists in the channel some love. And subscribe if you're interested. So, huge shout out to Ghost Candy. But up next, we got the homie, Filter. Now, Filter's been absolutely killing it. Super consistent. We actually just interviewed Filter on the Music Mondays website, so definitely go check that out. And go show Filter some love. But a super talented alternative producer and vocalist submitted a track titled Death Mission. And it's actually featuring Glaive, so I'm very excited to see what this track is all about here, for sure. So let's see here. We got Filter, Death Mission featuring Glaive, I assume self-prod for sure. And then... oh man, we got some lyrics in the description as well. Let's get into this, chat. Let's get into this. Filter, Death Mission.
My bad, never got enough to tell. Is it my fault? Am I being too frail? In the first place, why say how I felt? Fall asleep, have a contract spell. Tell me what the fuck, I've never really been prioritized. Now you're gonna spend my feelings like this shit is televised. I don't need no bullshit, I wish I could just die. Fuck this shit, fuck my life. I wish I could be dead. I wish I could be dead. I wish I could be dead. I wish I could be dead.
Eesh.
die for you, is that enough? Better get to leave of thoughts, wish I could just stop. Bitch, I will not bluff, I'm a top of my actions. Yeah, it's a fraction, not complete. No, I'm not above, they can compete. So why do I sit here and overthink? I wish I could be dead. I wish I could be dead. I wish I could be
Sheesh, man. That is an insane duo. That is an insanely good duo. Holy shit. All right, man. We definitely got to break this one down. So you guys know the drill. Let's do it. We're talking about the instrumental, talk about vocals, talk about the overall theme of Death Mission. So, let's talk instrumental. Self-prod by Filter. So, wow. Mix is actually insane. There's a lot of mud that got left in this, and I think it did it some justice. I like how muddy and like insanely in your face that this mix is, especially when it comes to the instrumental. But when it comes to the mix itself, nothing too clashy, too overbearing at all. Vocals sit nice for both of these two for sure. Everything cuts through nicely. Usually Filter has like a really solid mix when it comes to the majority of their tracks. So not really a surprise here, but always got to point it out as well. So the instrumental mix, very solid. But instrumental Shining Star, man. Melody brings the soft approach to this, but the drums are so in your face that it's so hard to like not acknowledge it. The drums were fantastic. Everything from sound selection to patterns to really just structure, to be honest with you. Drums were just insane here. Really well fucking done. So drums all day for sure. Let's talk vocals. So two fantastic vocalists on here. But when it comes to the mix is stellar for both of them, to be honest with you. Again, both of them sit really nicely on this instrumental. Nothing clashing, too overbearing whatsoever. I definitely think they both blended well with this. You know what I mean? They definitely don't pull any punches whatsoever. And they just both sound really solid. Really fucking solid. And I've always liked Filter's approach to their vocal mix as well. So, not really a shocker, but again, always got to point it out. Vocal Shining Star here. Probably, you know, I love the writing and I love the mix, but the flow and cadence and like the energy on this track is insane. Like the delivery in itself is so emotional and like just in your face. It's so hard not to say flow and cadence and delivery. It's so hard not to say that. Like this one takes a cake for flow and cadence and delivery for sure. So instrumental solid, definitely the drums. Vocal solid, definitely flow and cadence, absolutely. Delivery too. Writing's definitely a close second though. Let's talk theme though. So aesthetics, a insane approach to this, especially for a track called Death Mission. I like this choice a lot. Takes like the classical artwork style, but definitely is very symbolic to what this song is about. So again, simple but very solid choice. Absolutely. Overall theme. So Death Mission, I mean, relatively simple theme, but one that a lot of people could get behind, right? A lot of these feelings that Filter and Glaive are describing throughout this track are a lot of shit that people definitely feel on the daily, or at least feel once in their life. You know what I mean? So a very like in your face, important theme. But nonetheless, I definitely feel like both Filter and Glaive did a really good job putting their feelings on the forefront, but also like being honest and also being very constructive as well. So again, very solid theme and definitely one that a lot of people can get behind. And tracks like these are just very important. Very important. So well done, my friend. A huge shout out to Filter. Thank you so much for letting us premiere that on the Music Mondays podcast. So make sure you follow Filter on SoundCloud. They're 3 followers away from 230. And of course, make sure you follow Filter on Twitter. They are literally 3 followers away from 30, man. Go show them some love in the bird. And of course, every artist featured in today's episode and every episode will be linked in the description of the YouTube re-upload. Of course, make sure you subscribe to the Music Mondays YouTube channel if you haven't already. We're approaching 200 subscribers. We are 2 away. We are currently 198. So go show some love to the Music Mondays channel. And of course, we upload every Thursday and Saturday, full podcast episodes, exclusive segments, a whole lot of good stuff's available over there on the channel. So again, go show the channel some love if you like what you see. Devil Killer, DK, a Snowfall. Welcome on in, my friend. Happy Monday. I hope you're well. Welcome. Hope you're Gucci. So, up next would be the homie King Mark, but we had already ran through King Mark since they are Music Mondays Patreon. Huge shout out to all of our Patrons that submitted tonight. But up next, we got the homie Jaded. Now, Jaded is an artist that recently joined the Music Monday staff team on the writing team, actually. So, definitely be on the lookout for some new content from them this week on the Music Mondays homepage. But they submitted a track titled Final Destination. Now, I think this might be Jaded's first time submitting to the show, I believe. It might be. This could be a first time submission, but let's definitely pop this open and see what we got here. So, new tab that. Boom. What's up? Pause it right quick. 3 days ago, we got the homie Jaded and Doveboy. The gang is back. Shout out Flux, man. Okay. Wow, yeah. No, we definitely got to get into this. So, let's do it. Jaded, Final Destination. Let's go.
It's the final destination, see you across the nation. Stop boy and Jada finally back, but motherfuckers on blast. USA all the way to Sweden, shout out 016. Hometown does never sleeping cause they always be faded. It's the final destination, see you across the nation. Stop boy and Jada finally back, but motherfuckers on blast. USA all the way to Sweden, shout out 016. Hometown does never sleeping cause they always be faded. Top is back with a different flow, a different show. Tell me how there's competition when your rap skills are so low. I go goes, I blow smoke, I come back. Don't worry, the flow switch is coming, just know that. 6 months without releasing a track and just a rapping like you're whack. I leveled up without trying or breaking my back. Just tell me how the fuck you gonna stay on the grind and also make any racks. It's time to face the facts.
Damn.
Yo, Dubboy and Jaded back in it. Stay wet and ready. Let's go. Put him in a fight of his life if you wanna see a real one. So tough, they wonder if I'm hero or I'm villain. Chilling in your system like I'm penicillin. Battle royal till the end and I'm still in. I shoot a spell at Red Wizard over the ropes. King Maddie running at me, trip over the ropes. Type 1 made a mistake over the ropes. If anyone's still in the ring, then I'm coming for your throat. Been sick, addict, decaying. Miguel O'Hara with the flip, 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 flip this baby, flip this baby, flip this.
Damn, what the fuck? Oh shit.
USA all the way to Sweden, shout out 016. Hometown does never sleeping cause they always be faded. It's the final destination, see you across the nation.
Final destination.
Jada finally back, but motherfuckers on blast. USA all the way to Sweden, shout out 016. Hometown does never sleeping cause they always be faded. It's the final destination, see you across the nation. Stop worrying, Jada finally back, but motherfuckers on blast. USA all the way to Sweden, shout out 016. Hometown does never sleeping cause they always be faded.
Okay. Let's go, man. Three days ago, so fucking super new, man. This is a very fresh track, so I cannot wait to get into this. Let's break this one down. We're gonna talk about the instrumental, talk about vocals, talk about the overall theme of Final Destination. So, let's talk instrumental. So, Prod Boyo, mix is great. Nothing clashing to overbearing whatsoever. Vocals sit nicely. Everything's nice and level, nice and refined, well-rounded. Super level, like I said. I don't think there's any gripes with this instrumental mix that I kind of picked up on whatsoever. It's very level, very tight, and just very where you'd want an instrumental like this to be. Hard-hitting, but nice and like soft still. You know what I mean? Melody still plays a part. Everything's nice and even. So yeah, no. Instrumental mix is really well done. So, Instrumental Shining Star. The melody is very memorable and brings a very old school underground feeling along with the flow. But the drums keep up the bounce, and the drums are like really what like gave these two the super canvas to be able to like get this flow. So I'm gonna have to go ahead and say drums, man. The drums were really well done, and not to mention the sound selection on them was like really like well selected for sure. So, instrumental solid, definitely the drums. Let's talk vocals here. So when we want to talk about vocals, the mix for both of these two is really solid, especially like again what you'd want for a track like this. Almost has like the classical hip hop feel with like a lot of modern elements, you know what I mean? A little bit of a funk feel in there, a little bit of like a just a very like organic hip hop feel right here for sure. And the vocal mix for these two to get that really you know, just organic feel was really precise and really well done. I definitely like both of their mixes for sure. Again, nothing clashing to overbearing. I don't think anything kind of stuck out to me that was like, ugh. Not at all. No real super gripes with this. Nice and even as well. Again, very well rounded. Even throughout the whole track, you know what I mean? 232, like definitely not any hiccups whatsoever. Definitely sit nice and everything cuts through nicely as well. Yeah, no. Nothing I can really think of. A really solid and just again well rounded a vocal mix for both of them for sure. So vocal Shining Star here is easily writing. Flow and cadence is like a close second, but the writing for both of these two is insane. Like I love the hook a lot too, but that just I want to say writing in general because the verses were just as insane. So definitely writing. It's clears for sure. I love the writing, but flow and cadence is a close second for sure. So let's talk theme here. Man, oh man, oh man. So again, instrumental solid, definitely the drums. Vocal solid, definitely the writing. When it comes to the theme, aesthetics, you know, a very simple minimalistic cover, but again, this is something that like is super preference, and I like the text down at the bottom. Jaded, Doveboy, minimal, but it gets the job done, and you know, definitely single worthy in my opinion, so I like that choice. Definitely. And definitely gives that like Final Destination kind of feel too, like game over screen type shit. But overall theme, right? Final Destination is really definitely in the hook. But I wouldn't say there's like an ultimate clear theme on this track. This is definitely more of a showcase of lyrical ability and writing skill from these two. And Final Destination just became the unironic theme here, and I think they both did a really good job capitalizing on the flows and the hook here, definitely. And it brings that almost smaller element of like horror or like creepy, like classic hip hop feel. So Final Destination was definitely like a solid title for this, and the theme definitely showcased a lot more of their lyricism and writing for sure. So with that said, huge shout out to Jaded. Thank you so much for the submission, my friend. Much love. Make sure you follow Jay on SoundCloud. They are 30 away from 500 or 10 away from 480. Go show them some love on SoundCloud. And of course, make sure you follow Jay on Twitter. They are very close to 1.8K on the Bird app. Go show them some love over there on Twitter. And of course, every artist featured in today's episode and every episode will be linked in the description of the YouTube re-upload. And of course, make sure you subscribe to the Music Mondays YouTube channel if you haven't already. We're approaching 200 subscribers on the main channel, man. We're about 2 subscribers away. We're at 198. We upload 2 times a week, every Thursday, every Saturday. Full podcast episodes, exclusive segments, underground tips and tricks, a whole lot of good stuff's available over there. So go show the channel and these artists some love. And if you're already subbed to the channel, thank you so much, my friends. Thank you for supporting Music Mondays over there on YouTube. So again, huge shout out to Jaded. Thank you so much for that submission, my friend. But our last submission of the night is the homie Seasons. Now, it's been some weeks since we've heard from Seasons, man. Actually, it might be a couple months, to be honest with you. But a very talented alternative vocalist submitted a track titled Wanna Be Happy. Let's see what we got here from the homie Seasons, man. So, 11 days ago, super new. New favorite song right now. Let's get it. Lots of love. Okay. Love that. All right, let's get into it. Seasons, Wanna Be Happy. Let's go.
am worried about you. I really hope you're okay. I really hope you're okay. I really hope you're okay. What can I say? Don't say I wanna be happy. I don't think that is possible. Freezing cold, walk around, no coat, tryna freeze to death. She said, what you running from? What you running from? What you running from? She said, baby, what you running from? What you running from? Trace my steps, I lost my phone. And I'm so upset cause I wanna text you. Text you back. Baby, 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 baby. Ow, 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 ow. Da, 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 da. Where, da, da, da. I might drop you for
Holy shit.
Try not to hit any pedestrians.
Jesus, man. My lord. Okay, Seasons back with the emotion for sure. Straight passion from Seasons, man. Straight fucking passion, 100%. So let's break this one down. This one's gonna be very fun to break down. So, we're gonna talk about three things here. Talk about the instrumental, talk about vocals, talk about the overall theme of "Wanna Be Happy." So, let's talk instrumental. Mix is fucking insane. The mix is really, really crazy on this instrumental. Drums are solid. I love the drum selection. I love the melody too, for sure. Everything's nice and level. Nothing clashing to overbearing. Seasons vocals sit nice. No real gripes with this one, to be honest with you. Really well-rounded instrumental mix, especially for something that has so much going on in it. I feel like everything was super, super level on this and really, really finely tuned, definitely. So instrumental mix definitely solid. Instrumental shining star. Probably the drums, to be honest with you. The drums are so emotional and so hard hitting, man. Like, Seasons really knows how to pick instrumentals, but some of these producers are so skilled with their drums, man. It's insane. Definitely the drums here for sure. They bring the bounce, but they bring the hard hitting emotion that Seasons vocals also brings. So they're almost like intertwining with each other for sure. So drums, absolutely. Let's talk vocals. So vocal mix. Seasons has always had a very strong vocal mix. Very solid, very crisp, very well rounded, super level. Drums always cut through. Nothing clashing to overbearing. Especially in this track in particular, I definitely have no gripes with the vocal mix. I've always been a fan of Seasons, man. I really enjoy their vocals when it comes to how much they draw their emotion out and how much they deliver that emotion. You know what I mean? And part of that's due to the mix. So mix is super solid. Vocal shining star. Definitely delivery and flow and cadence. Like, I was gonna say writing. Writing's a close second. But Seasons back with the emotion, man. Like, it's so hard to, like, fake that emotion. That is genuine emotion right there. So Seasons does a really good job bringing their emotions out for a lot of their tracks. And this one definitely shows it. Especially with the flow and cadence and delivery. 100%. So instrumental solid. Definitely the drums. Vocal solid. Definitely the flow and cadence and delivery. Let's talk theme here. So aesthetics. Fucking amazing cover. Again, super minimalistic, but it gets the job done. And you have Seasons directly in the middle, and it's just two colors, excellent color palette, and it just hits right for these kinds of tracks. You know, just kind of like a one and done. Perfect for a single. So I like the choice a lot. Overall theme, right? I want to be happy. So obviously Seasons is very much an artist that has a lot of emotion on their tracks, but in this track in particular, you know, it can go a couple different ways, right? Like, this is also Seasons talking about how they want to be happy, but they also want people in their personal life to be happy, and they're not happy unless they're happy. So it's a very like back and forth kind of struggle with happiness here, and Seasons is very descriptive in not a lot of words, and that takes skill to do. You know what I mean? Especially when you're conveying with so much emotion. I definitely think Seasons nailed it and hit it on the head when it comes to a track like this, and really making the listener like feel what they're feeling, but also able to like come to their own conclusion on tracks like this. You know, very important, very very important. So with that said, huge shout out to Seasons. Thank you so much for the submission, my friend. Much love. Make sure you follow Seasons on SoundCloud. They are 40 away from 1K or 10 away from 970. Go show Seasons some love. And of course, make sure you follow Seasons on the Bird app. This is their brand new account, so make sure you definitely go follow this. They're only 4 follows away from 20, so definitely go show them some love on the Bird. And of course, every artist featured in today's episode and every episode will be linked in the description of the YouTube re-upload. And of course, make sure you subscribe to the Music Mondays YouTube channel if you have not already. We're approaching 200 subs, man. We're about 2 away, so make sure you go show some love to the channel. And of course, we upload 2 times a week, man. Every Thursday, every Saturday, full podcast episodes, exclusive segments, whole lot of good stuff's available over there on the channel. So go show these artists in the channel some love. And if you already have, we appreciate you, and I see you dropping likes, dropping comments, so thank you for showing love. We would have 2 more submissions left, but you guys know the drill. If you're not following the show on Twitter, that's the only thing we ask you to do. So it just, you know, helps pay respect to everybody else that is also submitting every week. So our submissions are free. They're always going to be free, but that's the one thing that we do ask of you before you submit to the show is that you're following Music Mondays podcast on Twitter. So for those 2 remaining, Taylor and this other artist here, feel free to follow the show and resubmit next week, and we'll be happy to react to your work. So with that said, that about concludes episode 134 of the Music Mondays podcast, my friends. Huge shout out to everybody that came through and showed love. Huge shout out to everybody that submitted as well. Huge shout out to all of our Patreons, Jordan Andrew, TDG, King Mark, and Blank Thought, and of course Ryuki as well. And huge shout out to everybody else, Brayden, Offspring Mysterious, Mac 2 times, Ghost Candy, Filter, Jaded, Seasons, and everybody else that lurked and chilled and submits every single week. Thank you for showing your support to Music Mondays. We appreciate it. So, let's talk about what's coming up for the week. Let's say our goodbyes. Let's chill for a minute. Let's talk about it, chat. So, if you'd like to submit for episode 135 of the Music Mondays podcast, submissions will be live tomorrow. So keep your eyes peeled on all of our socials, especially Twitter. Make sure you follow us on all socials at All Music Mondays. If you're watching this on YouTube, submissions are already open. So make sure you keep your eyes peeled and go check out our tweet. And of course, per usual, submissions will be opening for SoundCloud Sunday, this Wednesday. So keep your eyes peeled for that as well. And if you're interested in submitting for that, of course, make sure you follow us on socials. So let's get it, chat. Yeah, so expect more weekly content per usual. 2 brand new articles should be going up this week. A whole lot of really important stuff will be going up, especially in case you missed it monthly, and a lot of like really great stuff as far as weekly content goes. But monthly content, expect Feature Friday, Workshop Wednesday, in case you missed it monthly, Behind the Merch, the breakdown, so many other like really cool things coming that me and the team are working on. So again, huge shout out to all you guys that are showing support and are always super patient and just come and show love to the show, man. And of course, huge shout out to everybody that came through and showed love tonight at the show. Filter, Ghost Candy, DK, PDG, all you guys. Anybody who even lurked and chilled, thank you. Again, submissions will be open for episode 135 of the Music Mondays podcast tomorrow. If you're watching on YouTube, they'll already be open. And yeah, if you're interested in streaming the Music Mondays podcast on any audio platform, anchor.fm/allmusicmondays, my friends. Again, make sure you follow us on socials. Make sure you follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, all that good stuff. I'm your host, Zombslays. You can follow me at Zombslays on all platforms. Make sure you go show some love to the Music Mondays staff team as well. They work extremely hard, so huge shout out to them. But with that said, that's going to do it, my friends, for episode 134 of the Music Mondays podcast. Like I said, I'm your host, Zombslays. We'll see you next week for episode 135. And we're live every single day here on the channel, so make sure you follow if you haven't already. Subscribe, all that good stuff's linked down below. We'll We'll see you next week for episode 135 of the Music Mondays podcast, my friends. Be safe. I love you. Take care.